Hello, 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 my beloved souls. How are you? It's Woke Wednesday. So, as I said before, I didn't want to just be recording just for the sake of recording, right? Like putting out content for no reason. But some really strong messages were downloaded to me, and so I had to jump on here really quick so I didn't forget them as they were. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So the sun is in Pisces right now, right? Pisces is a very deep, heart-centered sign, right? Very introspective, very intuitive, a lot of emotions, right? Out of the three water signs, right? They're the most mature because they end our zodiac, right? So we go from Aries, which is like the newborn of the zodiac, all the way into Pisces, right? Which is kind of like that crone, elder kind of energy, and then we're kind of restarting. So we're ending the zodiac new year, not the zodiac new year, we're ending the zodiac year as we're heading into the new year, right? Because Aries season is approaching. And as the sun is in Pisces, we also have this full moon that's coming up in Virgo, right? And the full moon, I believe, is the 7th. I could be wrong, but check your calendars wherever you're at in the world. And the full moon is in Virgo. Now, moons have no light of their own, right? They only reflect back to us the sun's light. And so as we move into this full moon, it is reflecting back to us the shadow part of Virgo, right? And I know that can seem a little complicated, but Virgo is a sign where they like to get things done. They're very grounded. They're very organized, right? It's very detailed. But on its shadow side, it can be hypercritical, overthinking, over analytical about a lot of things. And so we have this kind of push pull dynamic going on where we have this Piscean energy of deep feeling and heart centered stuff being kind of feeling a little conflict with how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our relationships, how we feel about um, how we're showing up in the world and the world at large, right? Because again, we have this Pisces energy, which is very deep, very feeling, very intuitive. But because we have this full moon in Virgo, it's the criticisms that we feel about ourselves, right? Are you guiding yourself through your heart centered intuition, or are you allowing that Virgo energy of criticism and the shadow energy of Virgo, because it's the shadow energy that's being highlighted right now? The sun is in a Virgo. Um, that energy of criticism, self doubt, over analyzing, fears, trying to make things perfect as opposed to just kind of like being satisfied where you're at, right? So there's that kind of thing going on. And then, as with a lot of full moons, right, there's a lot of energy of like aggression, and um, there's a lot of aggressive energy going on. What I'm seeing hugely is that there's a lot of arguments, discord, upheaval, projections going on within the collective, right? And so you have all of that being highlighted, and this Pisces, the sun being in Pisces, is kind of like cool. Like, that's the what is this meant to teach me? What is this meant to show me? What am I supposed to learn from this, right? That's how you should be looking at it. But because, again, we have this kind of push pull with the Virgo full moon, it's kind of like we're either projecting all of our insecurities and fears onto another, or it's being reflected back to us, the parts of ourselves that we haven't healed, that we haven't addressed, that we haven't acknowledged, right? So there is a lot of relationships that are going to end around this time. There is a lot of there is a need for a lot of self-reflection and self-introspection, and not from a sense where we're judging and criticizing ourselves because of our past mistakes or our fears or our worries or our concerns, but doing it from a space of, wow, I could have shown up better, I can be better, I can communicate better, I can make better choices, right? I can face the lion on my path. It's that kind of energy going on. So you're gonna see, and you may have already been seeing this, because it's only just gonna get stronger as we actually go towards the full moon next week, is aggression in maybe how you're communicating with your coworkers or your partners or your friends. Aggressive driving. I literally just saw a car accident, right? Because people are just kind of like hogging the road and being very selfish and self-absorbed and self-centered, right? Um, not really contributing back into the world, hoarding, right? Like that's all of this energy that's playing out big time and not seeing the bigger picture of things and not seeing another person's perspective of things. And so we're stepping into an energy where we need to acknowledge how we're showing up, right? What we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what we can always do better, right? Because this is always about just being the best version of yourself, right? These things are showing up in your world as either a projection or a reflection so that you can be on your highest and greatest timeline so that it is going to serve your highest and greatest good and thus the highest and greatest good of all, right? Like we can only give what we are, right? And so if you are looking for love, are you love, right? Are you a reflection of that? Or is your behavior or your actions a reflection of self-love? Or is it self-sabotage and condemnation and judgment and fear and lack of accountability, right? We have all these energies kind of being played out. And so with this full moon that's coming in Virgo, be very mindful of your thoughts, be very mindful of your words, and be very mindful of how those things are playing out in the relationships around you and especially the relationship within you, right? Because it always starts within. You guys know I say that all the time. Self love is the best love, you know? We can all be, do, or have anything we want, and we're all children of the divine, and we are made in God's image. And so, are you living your life knowing that you are divinity, right? Is your life a reflection of the God within you? Are you an extension of that? And you have to be really honest with yourself during this time, right? Like, are you a reflection of your own divinity? Are you a reflection of your own sovereignty, right? The universe isn't selfish, it isn't materialistic, it isn't projecting, it isn't self absorbed, right? It's sustaining itself, it's loving everything on the planet, it's working together, it's understanding that all parts equal the whole, right? And so, how are you showing up in all of that, and how is that playing out in your day to day, right? As within, so without. So, if there's upheaval and chaos and discord in your life, what is going on within you that needs to be shifted and healed and cleared so that you can move forward? And this is a great time for that because, again, Pisces is a very intuitive, deep sign, like going within. Virgo is a very intuitive, deep sign, and it's represented by the Hermit in the Tarot, right? And so that's all about like going into solitude, going into the cave, getting those deep answers and wisdom and knowledge, from the divine, from our higher self. But it can stay in the cave a little too long, right? And so we don't want to stay in the cave. We do want to retreat. We want to get ourselves back on solid ground. We want to ask some very probing questions of ourselves, and look at how things are playing out in our life. And I always tell you guys, take stock. Look at every area of your life and give it a 1 through 10, right? What's health look like? What is my career or my work, my business look like? What about my relationships with my friends, my relationships with my family, my relationship with myself, an intimate relationship if you have one, right? What is your relationship like with your money, your living situation, how you like to enjoy, world? Like, do you like to travel, your lifestyle, things like that, and give everything a 1 through 10. One being like, this is crap, this sucks, two thumbs down, and 10 being like, it couldn't get any better than this, and if it does, fantastic, I'm here for it. Like, bring on the blessings. And then from that point, anything really that you have less than 7 or less, you want to just be like, I can do a little work here. And we don't have to do it all at once, right? You don't have to take stock of your life and be like, I have all fives, like I need to freak out. No, it's like we're gonna do one thing at a time, and we're gonna get that ball rolling. We're gonna get that plate spinning before we start on the next thing, right? And it's just, how do you eat a bear? It's one bite at a time, right? You don't have to eat the whole thing in one sitting. And it's the same thing with your life. You want to take stock and just kind of make some shifts along the way. And as you're clearing and healing and fixing one thing, the other things will kind of start to fix themselves. It's amazing how things just kind of work themselves out when we get out of our own way. All right, when we really get out of our own way, and when we take accountability for ourselves and how we're showing up in the world, and our parts in everything, right? Because it's not always somebody else. It's not always this person's fault and that person's fault and this and that. No, like, this is me. What am I doing to contribute to this energy? How is my behavior a part of this energy? What do I need to learn from this, right? And a lot of it is just, what do I need to learn from it? Or the cycle is going to repeat. It's never going to end until you learn the lesson. And the lessons just get harder the more you go. It's like taking a freaking test. You don't get the same test twice. It's just not going to show up. And as you keep taking it, guess what? You're going to get more and more challenged because you're meant to learn from it. Learn and grow through things, right? We're never going through things, we're growing through things, right? And the universe is always here to support you. Things are always working out for you. These things serve your highest and greatest good if you are aware of it. Right? How can you make the shift right now? How can you make the change right now so that you don't have to deal with this again? So that this is not something that you're going to deal with in another situation. I was talking to someone recently who was miserable at their job, right? And complain after complain after complain after complain after complain. Fantastic, awesome. Looking for a new job, fantastic, awesome. Being proactive. But guess what? You are still going to be wherever you're at. So take the lessons that you're meant to learn in this situation so that you don't move to another area where it's going to be the same thing. Because guess what? If you have a toxic boss today, and you don't deal with what you're supposed to learn in those situations, whether that's learning how to speak up for yourself, using your voice, setting boundaries, um, whatever the lesson is there, the next place you go, you get another version of them. It's like a girl who's always in a abusive relationship or a guy who's always with some freaking gold digger, right? Like, if you don't change, those situations won't change. The names and the faces may change, but you're still going to get the same energy. You're always going to be in alignment for abuse if you don't do something to shift that. You're always going to be in alignment with someone who is just draining your pockets if you don't shift and fix that, right? Like, what are your priorities? What are your boundaries? What are your no's? What are your yeses? What are your non negotiables? I have several non-negotiables when it comes to relationships, right? I don't do physical abuse. I'm not with like the cocaine cowboy lifestyle. I'm just not with it, right? Like, to each its own, live your best life, but that's not something that I want to deal with in my life, and that's a non-negotiable for me. And if that's something you do, cool, fantastic. I'm just not the one for you. It's like 8 billion people on the planet. You'll be fine. Move on to the next bitch. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So you really just want to dive deep into what you're supposed to learn at this time and what's being reflected back to you. What is being reflected back to you? What are you being shown at this moment? And acknowledge it, be accountable for your part, and then do something about it, right? And if you're happy with chaos and upheaval and discord, then fantastic, live your best life. But then don't bitch about it because you're creating it by being in alignment with it, okay? So all of that was coming in. And again, a lot of aggressive energy coming through. Um, I'm seeing endings everywhere. Everywhere I look. Endings, endings, endings. And endings lead to new beginnings, so I love it. It's not surprising to me that I'm seeing all these endings. Like I just said, Pisces is the final sign in the zodiac, so we're ending this like zodiac year and we're about to step into a new year, right? So it's not surprising. We're 3 months into the year right now. 2022's energies are gone, right? Anything that all that residual energy that was left over, we had 2 months to clear it out. Now it's 2023, right? This is a universal 7 year. It's time to move forward. And this is the year of the God within power, right? This is that seven, that spirituality, the God within, your sovereignty, the abilities that you have to create universes, right? We are all children of the divine. I was explaining this to my son earlier about just the hoarding and the selfishness on this planet, right? And the fact that nobody needs to go hungry, but we as humans can be very selfish, self-absorbed. We hoard, we can be greedy, and not understanding, especially for those that have been blessed with like financial abundance, like, you are the hand of God on earth. The money is coming through you for a reason so that you can do good works with it, right? Not so that you can keep it all for yourself, because when you die, you can't take it with you, right? It's so that we can give back and so that we can be blessed. Yes, so we can have an amazing life and also help to create that life for other people, right? Also help to be a conduit. And some people don't want that. Some people are happy in their dysfunction. Some people are happy with their illnesses. Some people are happy with their limitations. Some people are happy with their fears. And that's fine. And that's fine, right? Live your best life. But you, if you're here, especially, you're probably like a way shower or a light worker. You know, you're a high vibrational being that came here as a star seed or something to help activate yourself and help activate others. So you have a responsibility, and it starts by living your best life and being accountable for yourself and the things that are going on in your world, and how can you shift them, how can you grow through them, what are you meant to learn, how are you ascending, how are you evolving at this time, what is being reflected back to you, what are you projecting onto another person, right? What are the fears that are underlying all of these things? Aggression is a fear, control is a fear, manipulation is fear. That's all just fear energy. Because if you're moving through love, you don't need to do all of that. And God is pure love. God is not out here manipulating people, being OD aggressive, you know what I mean? Trying to make you feel small to make itself feel bigger. No, none of that, right? That is not a reflection of love, right? That is not what Yeshua came to teach us, or Buddha, or any of the other ascended masters. So it's time to just really acknowledge and to move into that. So, get some tea. A second. Sorry. Put my tea on the wrong side. My millionaire tea, I drink it every morning. The millions that are mine by divine right come to me and through me now. And I just drink it every morning because we're the hands of God here on earth, right? We're all expressions of the divine. We are all here as perfect images of God expressing itself through us, right? Through our awesome personalities and our bodies and our cultures and our likes and our dislikes. Like, that's who we are. So, how are you showing up in the world? How are you remembering that you are the hand of God here on earth? And how can you share some of that light with the world today, right? It's a wonderful Wednesday if you own it, if you allow it to be. Okay. All right, beautiful. So we're gonna get a little earth magic, as you know, because I love to play the earth magic when we got these amazing moon energies going on. So thank you, angels. Thank you, guys, for being here with me in the collective. What do we need to know? What do we need to see? My beautiful Gaia. Okay. If you saw the card that just fell, oh my God, can't make this shit up. You literally can't make this up. Look at this shit. What's being reflected back, right? The moon is reflecting back the sun's light, and that's what we get. That's how we see that beautiful full moon. And I just said, what is being reflected to you right now? It's the winter solstice here in the northern hemisphere, and this is a time of reflection. What do you see? What are you meant to learn from all of this? How can you be accountable for your part in this? Because you align with this energy in some way, shape, or form. And how can you grow through all of this? You literally can't make this shit up. We have, guys, it's so funny because I do this work all the time, right? Whether I'm here on YouTube or, Instagram, Facebook, or if I'm just doing my own clients, and I still am in awe by the Most High God every single day. I am still in awe by the power of these messages. Look at this shit. Full moon completion. As I say, we're ending the zodiac new year, right? It's a full moon. Things are being reflected back to us. A lot of endings are coming in, right? But with endings come new beginnings. Not necessarily a bad thing, right? Not necessarily a bad thing. It's like a woman being pregnant. Can't be pregnant forever. With the ending of her pregnancy, right? She gives birth to life. Endings lead to new beginnings. It's awesome, right? Sometimes we lose our job and, like, the place that you're working closes, but as that closes and you move on and you find another position, guess what? You go find like an awesome job, higher pay, it's less stressful in your body, and then you meet like your new best friend or the love of your life, right? Like, so don't be so quick to run away from the closed doorways or the things that have ended in your life, because endings lead to new beginnings. We're ending a huge cycle right now. One in which there was upheaval, discord, aggression, all of the nonsense, and it's time to move forward. bugging out. Bugging out. We have wind activations. Yeah, I felt this activation energy earlier when I was channeling, because I know that I do a lot of activations for myself. I do a lot of activations for you guys within the tribe, as I know energetically that I can reach all of you. And there's a lot of things being activated within the collective right now, right? Really awakening everybody to their truth, to their higher self, to their sovereignty, right? Like you're being activated to move forward. You don't have all these talents and skills and gifts and wisdom and knowledge and understanding coming through you just so you can sit with it and kind of like be in a room by yourself, reflecting, looking at the ceiling. No, like, this is coming through you for a reason so that you can get out here and do your part. Whatever that means. Whatever that means for you. That looks different for everybody, right? I know that I'm one of the ministers of God. I know that I'm supposed to be the mouth of God. I know that I'm supposed to be doing more when it comes to speaking, right? Which is funny because I've kind of been doing less, but I feel like, again, I don't want to be putting out content just for the sake of content, right? Like if I'm not inspired, divinely inspired to move forward, then I'll keep it to myself until it kind of all makes sense. You're being activated right now. So what gifts are moving through you? What is awakening within you? How can you follow through with those things, right? And I'm not telling you to go out there and do everything at once because that's not the case. But if you're being led down the path, start flowing with the energies of the universe, right? There's a reason that we're always talking about ebbs and flow when it comes to spiritual energy, right? And for some of you, this is through music. Some of you, that is your activation, right? Like you need to be stepping forward onto that path, sharing your music, sharing your voice, sharing your songs. You could be a producer or, right, or those ones that make beats, I think, producer or a songwriter or a musician, maybe a poet, right? They're showing that to me almost like a poet. But this is about creating and bringing more harmony into our world at this time. So for some of you, you just need to raise your vibration, right? And listening to some feel good music is going to help you do that, right? Maybe turn the music up and dance naked around your fucking house and live your best life. Why not? Enjoy it. Just do what you got to do. And look, bottom of the deck. What did I tell you about the divine love? Compassion, right? Compassion is the cousin of empathy. Like it is up for you to again, see things from the perspective of another, right? We are all a part of the whole. So it's time for you to just have compassion for yourself, especially with this Virgo full moon coming in. Because again, Virgo, the shadow side can be very um, hypercritical, over analytical, right? Very just so hard on yourselves, right? I know a lot of Virgos and they're so hard on themselves. They're so hard on themselves. And I'm like, it's okay to make a mistake. Like the fuck, you're human. It's all right. So be compassionate with yourself at this time, but also be compassionate with others because know that you're not the only one going through this shit. You're not the only one. Everybody's got something going on. Everybody. Okay? Everybody. We're all going through some shit. Bottom of the deck, joy. I didn't shuffle yet, but I just wanted to bring a little love into your life. My beautiful angels of Atlantis deck, right? Angels and guides. Let's get some final messages for the collective. What do they need to know? What do they need to see? What's going on, babies? Wow. Bottom of the deck, Archangel Michael coming in with patience. You need to be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process. Be patient with what you're growing through. For some of you, the activations that are coming through are from that ancient Egypt energy, right? You see all the beautiful pyramids here. That's so amazing. So I just saw something about them finding pyramids in Antarctica. My son and I actually were talking about it this morning, which is how we started on this path of like being a star seed and all the other stuff that I was like informing him about. But for some of you, you're being reawakened. You might be connected to these spiritual sites. Oh my God, I'm tripping out. My son had a dream last night that we were in the Sahara Desert and we took a journey wherever we were going, and then we took the journey back. And when we came back, one of the people within the group had the ability to talk directly to God. And they were like super activated. So I was telling him the story of Moses and explaining to him about Moses and Babylon, and we were going through all this stuff that's in biblical text, but that's so deep. So for some of you, you may be guided to go on some of these spiritual retreats. Maybe you've been called to Giza or Mount Shasta or Stonehenge or Sedona, however it works out for you, right? Whatever that means to you. But be patient with yourself, right? Be patient on this process. Know that, it took you 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years to become the person that you are today. You're not going to change overnight. It's not going to happen and nobody's asking you to. But understand that like the the healing will come a lot quicker than the the years it took to kind of put the the shield mm, the shield on of protecting yourself from all the traumas and the dramas of life, right? But be patient with yourself on this journey. Like I said, give yourself, look at your life, take stock of your life, and give yourself a 1 through 10 in all these different areas. But don't think that you have to do everything at once. You don't have to do everything at once. You literally don't have to do everything at once. Be gentle on yourself. Right now, guess what? All right, you know what? I'm going to focus on my health first. Fantastic. I'm focusing on my health. I'm getting my body in order. I have a little bit more energy. I'm feeling better. That in and of itself is having me be in a better mood. I'm getting more rest. I'm having more harmonious relationships. I'm more productive at work. So now my finances have increased. You know what I mean? It's like a domino effect. But we start with the one thing. We start with the one thing. We focus on the one thing and let that gain momentum, and then we move on to something else. You don't have to fix everything in a hot second, okay? Be patient with yourself. And if you're feeling, discouraged or weak or scared or alone, call upon Archangel Michael. He's the warrior of heaven. He will be here to support you. And I feel a lot of you have been activating your crown chakras, because my head is starting to pound now as I'm connecting with that energy. So crown chakra is being truly activated, your third eye is being truly activated. Maybe some of you are having these really vivid, kind of crazy dreams almost, right? If you can, keep a dream journal, see what they're trying to tell you. Okay. And then last message, Archangel Jophiel coming in with liberation. This is how you feel, right? Loving and free when you let go of the burdens of the doubts and the fears and the discords and the lies and the things that are keeping you anchored into dysfunction, right? You feel liberated, you feel free, you feel lighter because you are letting go of the lies of the egoic mind, because you're letting go of the judgments and the criticisms that have been put upon you by other people in the collective or even by yourself, by your own, you know, um, fears and limitations, right? And it's time to let go and to move forward. Really beautiful time. And that yellow, that's solar plexus energy, right? That's our internal sun, our own divine masculine energy, our own fire center where we take action, right? So as we're healing, as we're staying grounded, as we're reflecting and understanding what's going on, it's empowering us at the same time, right? Because we're letting go of the things that are not serving us so that we can move forward. Really awesome. Really awesome. All right, I'm going to leave it there, my beloveds. I love you so, 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 so much. Have the best week of your life, and I will see you soon. Oh my gosh. I love you. God loves you, and angels surround you. Later, my beloveds.